Hello, everyone. Happy 2022. I like the 222. So, the key to self-empowerment is self-observation, and just observation in general. Observation of how you're feeling, observation of what you're thinking, and observation of what's occurring in your life on the day-to-day. So it is very helpful to develop that omnipresent part of you. The part of you that doesn't have a judgment about what's happening. You're just observing it. And that is the seat of the higher self. The higher self has no judgment of what we're doing. Okay? So connecting into that omnipresent part of ourselves. Because when we do that, all of those thoughts and emotions are not going to cloud up the filter, so to speak. They're not going to muddy the waters. You can just accurately see what's happening. Okay, without our own human emotion and human thought. And this gives us understanding into what changes we can make to be more in alignment with who we are, to be more joyful, to experience more flow, more success. Okay, for instance, let's say you're having a day where everything just seems to be taking longer. Like you get behind a car who's going slow, and then you get to the store and there's no shopping carts. And then you get in line and the line is super long. And then right when you get up to the front, they have to switch cashiers. Okay, and this is just an example of a day that you could have that where one after another, the same kind of energy is showing up. And what we usually do is get lost in the emotions of how this makes us feel, right? We get frustrated. We start adding thoughts to that, like, oh, well, what about this thing I have to do in a half an hour? I'm not going to make it. So the thoughts fuel the emotions to grow bigger and bigger. But if we can get into that omnipresent place, we can see the whole thing from a higher perspective and see, wow, everything that is occurring right now, that has occurred today, is forcing me to slow down. It's forcing me to be patient, to wait. So maybe there's a reason why that's happening. And if I can surrender into that, it releases that pattern from occurring. Once you surrender into, okay, I'm just going to let this slow me down. If I'm late for my next appointment, so be it. But there's nothing I can do right now rather than be upset. So I'm just going to surrender into going a little slower and needing to wait. And once you surrender into that, your whole experience changes. You start noticing more positive things that are happening. Maybe there's a nice person next to you that you get to talk to while that's happening. Or maybe you notice something, an interaction between people that makes you feel something inside. Okay? When you shift your perspective, you're going to see your situation differently. So, connecting with that omnipresent part of ourselves. And one of the easiest ways to do this is to practice meditation. And this doesn't mean that you need to quiet your mind. You can also walk while in a meditative state and just breathe in a feeling that you want to feel, breathe in well-being while you're walking, notice beautiful things around you. This is also a type of meditation. It's anything that gets you to focus your mind on something specific so that you lose thought, right? So doing meditative activities helps you align with that omnipresent part of yourself. And once you develop that connection, it can be extremely helpful through all of your life situations because you can see it from the higher self perspective. Whatever's happening in that moment, whatever that feeling is, whatever the event is, whatever the thought pattern is, you can put yourself back into the omnipresent space and then say, what do I see from this vantage point? How does it look now? And you're going to see something very different because you're a little bit detached from the human mind at that point and more integrated with your higher mind. Yeah? So play with this. Play with this throughout your day. And if you have judgments about what's happening, if you have emotions about what's happening, then that's not your omnipresent self. That's not the higher self space. So this is a good indicator of where you're perceiving from, right? Based on how you're feeling about it. Very neutral, very just observational. Like, isn't this interesting how this thing is happening right now? And from that point, you get so much more intel on to what's happening and why when you're not clouded up in your human self and all your emotions and thoughts, right? So I hope this is helpful. And just going to restate, the key to your own freedom, self-empowerment, and liberation is to be able to access that part of you, that neutral, omnipresent part of you. Okay? I love you all. We'll talk soon. Bye.